holistic medicine, and I've got a book on Amazon and everything. So like actually I deal in precious metals now. Make a long story short, being a holistic doctor in the United States is a vow of poverty because people don't want to pay for their own health. Maybe I should save this. Are we live? Are you recording?
We
Yeah.
are live. I
Okay.
like to have like these raw conversations in the
Yeah.
beginning before we get started. Yeah.
Right. So they don't, you don't really, it's extremely difficult to be um, successful from the wealth side of things when you're in
Hmm.
holistic medicine. And the ones that do make a lot of money are usually MDs that do a couple of things that are holistic, but they're really not practicing holistic medicine. But
Hmm.
when you're a straight up Ayurvedic practitioner, Ayurvedic doctor, like what I did, it's difficult to make a lot of money. And
Yeah.
when they launched the pandemic, the corona hoax, I realized that 80-90% of my patients weren't coming in and were in support of it. Like I even found one of my patients selling masks online. And this is a lady that was a shut-in,
Hmm.
depressed, hadn't left the house in years. And not only did she become gainfully employed, she got in a relationship, her skin had cleared up. I'd done everything. I didn't get one call other than about 5 families during the great shutdown on, hey, Dave, Dr. David, what should we do? And I'm like, well, screw this. So I went back into businessman mode and I'm doing some telemed type consultations, but having the clinic, even when it was at its height, by the time I paid the bills, paid my employees and everything, once in a while I'd have a couple grand here and there, but it was never like where you're drawing 25 grand a month or anything. You're trading time for money, and then the people they don't get it. I remember one lady telling me how they had like 50 acres and they had the old home up front near the road, and they built a road going back into the hills, and they built another home there. And she was in her 70s. Her and her husband were moving back to the new home, and they're giving the home up front to their one daughter. And it cost this many hundreds of thousands of dollars and this million and all this. And then I was walking down the hall from my office, where I see people, to the kitchen, and I heard her checking out, and she was complaining about her $750 tab. You know what I mean? And here
Yeah.
I am, and her daughter was a 30-year sufferer of migraines. In 10 days, they were gone.
Hmm.
10. And she called me crying. She's like, what are you, a voodoo? Witch doctor? How'd you do this? Why? How's it working? And it's just amazing. And then when I raised fees one time, I lost all these yoga instructors, Reiki practitioner, they all got together and they all quit. Like they're gonna, you know what I mean. So it's a tough go with holistic medicine because they have to want it more than the doctor, and
Yeah.
that's when I got your stuff. It was because I'm stressed. I'm basically launching another business, and I'm like, I'm going to try this. And I had the feeling it was hemp because you do a good job not disclosing your secrets. And
Yeah.
then when I got it, I'm like, I put it in my mouth. This is nothing, because you're really worried because the average American does not like that taste. I
Yeah.
put it in my mouth and I'm like, I don't even need water. I'll chew it, because I'm so used to junk. But it's a good concept, and it works. It really does. I'll give you that. It does work. And I've actually referred, I don't know if he ordered, and I won't say his name,
Hmm.
a couple guys that I know that are coming off psych meds. I said, try this. This works. So
Yeah.
anyway, but do you want me to just keep going?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
So
I'm more
here,
of a listener.
right. So, and when I was going down the path of, I was going to become an ND, naturopathic doctor.
Yeah.
And what I figured out in the initial stages, that naturopathy is the same thing as allopathy, modern medicine, except they just use natural substances. So they're trying to remedy their way in, like, instead of taking insulin, take this. I didn't see eye to eye on that. So I petitioned the dean at the university to kind of self-study in Ayurveda. And I spent a lot of time in India, worked in clinics there, did intensives, clinicals, all in Ayurvedic clinics. And it's all causation. We that's our big thing, is causation. And one of the things that's really, and I can help you with this, is that people need to understand that the herbs support the diet and lifestyle changes. Okay. Not that herbs will help you. It's the other way around. It will help you make changes. If you don't make changes, you can overeat and overthink and over remedy any substance, natural substance, even thought. So like, have you ever heard of Osho? You know, the long bearded Indian guy that they tried to poison?
It rings a bell, but you're going to have to give me a reminder.
I think he had a Netflix special called like Wild West or something.
Okay.
Where they set up out in Oregon. Well, anyway, every time I'd go to Nagpur, India, I'd be there for a month or two, and then I'd book a week or two at the meditation resort, the Osho ashram. And one time you can wear a badge that says I'm vow of silence or something. I'm not speaking. I can't remember what it says. But one time I put it on, I said, I'm going to go a day without speaking. And it felt so good. So I went 2, I went 3. Then I went like 5 days, didn't say a word. Guess what happens? Your mind completely shuts down. Repetitive thought stops. All that, it feels so good. You got no idea. And then I forgot to wear my badge because we wear these robes there. Kind of looks like a cult. You know why? Because it kind of is. But anyway, I forgot to wear it, and someone was speaking to me, and I forgot, and I spoke, and I boom, immediately it was like a ding, like a bell went off. So your thoughts are just as powerful vibrationally as what you say. Now that can override any herb. So even if you're taking the best formula to do the best thing, you can override it just with thought. So one of the first things I would make sure people understand is that your diet and lifestyle, your lifestyle will change the outcome. This aids you in having the ability to make those changes. It isn't the other way around. So you can't think your way into a new way of acting. You have to act your way into a new way of thinking. And so the herb is a support mechanism to dinacharya. And the word in Sanskrit, dinacharya, means proper daily lifestyle and habits. And it's there, you can find it online. Wake up early at a certain time, scrape your tongue, drink ginger tea, spend some quiet time or meditate, do that. And what that does is it aligns with nature. And then you can draw in the healing vibration of the universe. So if you're not doing that, it doesn't matter what you take. I mean, other than allopathy, where you just like obliterate the feedback loops and make it to where you don't feel it. Mm-hmm. But what you have is wonderful. But the emphasis, and if you have people that are failing, saying it didn't do anything for me, I can guarantee you, it's because they haven't made any changes. So that's the hard part, though. So I remember an Indian doctor, guru over there was saying, the trick to being an Ayurvedic doctor is to get inside the patient's mind and change it without them knowing, because they will defend their addictions and their imbalances more than they will work towards a solution. And something along those lines. And another saying is that it's more important to know what type of patient has the disease than what type of disease has the patient. So if you align everything and you get them moving in the right direction, now your formula is 1 + 1 = 10. Or if you're trying to do that alone, but still whack down a fifth of vodka every night, pissed off all the time, repetitive thoughts, come on. It's just it doesn't work. And then you go, oh, this didn't work. I wasted my money. Because I used to hear it all the time clinically. It didn't work. Yeah, okay. Well, did you do this? No. Did you do this? No. Are you pooping every day? No. Well, remember I told you we got to get you doing that first. So there's all these things. So let's say the person's constipated and then taking your stuff. That's another thing. You know, there's so many little things to administering an herbal formula. And there's one that you're really going to like, and I haven't got to it yet because I think it's something that we could probably work on together. I could at least advise you on. So do you have any questions or anything? You want me to keep going?
No, I think the main reason I wanted to hop on this call is because you said something via email that resonated with me, and I 100% agree with you. So the way I kind of phrase it is, you cannot out supplement, out medicate, out herb your lifestyle habits. It just doesn't work. And then I actually have this written in the website as well, because I know that we're not a cure to mental health. There's nothing you take orally, in a pill, a capsule, or herb is not going to cure your mental health. These are just kind of tools that you can use in your mental health journey, but the true cure comes from your daily habits, starting with, I like to call them the core three. I go like diet, sleep, and exercise and movement. Just if you can start with those three things, that's a pretty good place to start. And then from there, you can kind of branch out to meditation, maybe taking a break from social media, maybe getting some extra sunlight in and things like that. But I
Earthing.
believe that the quote unquote cure to mental health comes from a bunch of smaller actions that slowly stack up to bring that needle to the other side. This is
Yep.
why many people are always looking for, like, what's one thing I can take and still continue my exact same lifestyle habits that brought me to where I am today. But this one magical pill is going to completely move me to the other side, and I'm going to be happy and healthy as I've ever been. And I'm like, it doesn't exist. Like, I've been looking for it myself. I've been looking for one
Oh, yeah, me
myself.
too. I say it all the time. Yeah. I say a whole bunch of littles add up to a big. And you're
Yeah.
100% right. And one thing I would tell people right away, if they're going to struggle, go home and change your furniture, move it around. And then you say, I used to have PTSD. I used to do that. And then when you walk in, you see, oh, this isn't the same. And you have to start tricking them. Brush your teeth with your left hand, your opposite hand. Do things different. It activates different neural pathways. But yeah, so you're 100% correct. 100 bunch of littles add up to a big, but you got to do the littles. And some people have the ability to make drastic changes and multiple changes at once, but typically you have to work them into it. And one thing is since you don't do an intake because you're selling a product and that's not your job, you don't really know their digestion. And in Ayurveda, there's three digestive types: is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and those are doshas or types. You can somewhat call it ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph, kinda, but not really. Just to try to tie it in a little bit. And then doshic movement is kind of like circadian rhythms. So if your organs excrete and pull twice a day in 2 12-hour periods. So one of the best when our digestion is at its height is between 10 and 2, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. when the sun's at its height. Our digestion actually follows the sun. And Lord Agni in the Vedas is the god of the sun, and the word in Sanskrit is Agni for digestive function or enzymes. So most people they don't really digest herbs like that very easily. And so one thing I noticed right away is I'm like, wow, I would make a decoction out of it, and I would do this and infuse ghee, which we'll save that. It's more advanced. But I'd highly recommend, the word in Sanskrit is anupana or anupan, meaning a delivery vehicle, to take that teaspoon, that little tiny scoop, and put it in some strong ginger tea with a little dab of ghee. And what ghee does, you mix it together and let it kind of join. Ghee's like when you spill a little bit of gas when you're getting on a boat, you see gas and it spreads across the water. So then it spreads cellularly, and when it goes into the gut, into the stomach, it can be broken down and get it ready for the small intestines. If if it goes in there raw and they have munda digestion or not very strong, it'll probably not get processed in the stomach as well, and it gets pushed in the large intestine or small intestines, and you might not get adequate absorption. So one of the things to do is to up the absorption and get them being active in curing themselves. Like I'm adding this ginger, the strong ginger. I'm adding a little bit of ghee, and it's going to do this. And then say a little meditation over it. This is what I'm envisioning it doing, and this is what it's doing. A lot of times people just put that in there, and it doesn't get very far past the stomach. And because I used to administer herbal formulas just like that all the time, and I remember people would say, "Why don't you just have it put in capsules for them?" Because the stomach still has a component. And it needs to be broken down there. A lot of times the gelatin capsules, and you know this, you probably studied it when you made the decision to go raw herb versus capsule. It doesn't get broken down. It's pushed right into the small intestines in capsules. And tablets are even worse. I mean, I got a buddy that owns a Porta-John business. He said it's just full of tablets. People don't even digest them. They just poop them out.
Yeah. That's the main reason. Because I get so many people telling me, James, I need this in capsules or I need this in like pills, and I go like, trust me, I've tested it out, and I'm sure there's a way out there. I know there's probably is a way. I'm probably just not big enough to like have like funding for like that research or something like that. And I know there's like liposomal tablets, which is a little bit better, but I just personally found that putting them into those regular like veggie or gelatin capsules, it just doesn't get the same potency. And then
Exactly.
so many
So
of
what you would have to do is you'd really have to load up on your Anupana. So if you're going to use a gel cap, you're going to have to administer probably 2 or 3 times the same dose, a couple times a day, and you're going to have real strong ginger tea. And sometimes if they have heat in their blood, you want to use aloe vera juice. So ginger's tridoshic, meaning all digestive types can benefit from it. Ghee is too. So that's very safe. You give it to elderly people, babies, it's not going to affect anything. So that would be one of the things I noticed right away. I'm like, hey man, I like what you're doing here. Let me just give you some free advice. And if you need help, just, at least you have a resource. But getting the delivery to the small intestines correctly is super important. And then the real way of doing it is you make a infused ghee. So it means you have to put in all those herbs when they're not chopped up, raw, and you have to make a decoction where you reduce it down to a thick mud, strain it, and then you put in a big bucket of ghee, and then you infuse it into it. So it goes right into the cellular, and then you sell it by the jar, and you take a scoop of that, you put it in hot water or ginger tea. Now that delivers it. So that's what I was saying as an advanced one. If you you can Google Ayurveda infused ghee. And I used to use a lot of it. Brahmi was one for people with mental issues. Brahmi, elephants eat Brahmi, and they're known to have good memories and strong brains. But Brahmi is very good for the brain. There's a lot of spinoffs you could have with your product because it does a great job. But the hard part is, and who knows? I could be full of shit. You could be selling 1 million of these a month next month. But I'm just saying, knowing the people and how they are, they fight it. So you got to get them. You got to get it into them, but at the same time, you got to get them up early in the morning. You got to get them to do a few things. So it's a battle. I don't know. No idea. It's your business. I got nothing to say. All I know is your packaging. Holy crap! What do you? How that's got to be so expensive, man.
It's not. I put in a lot of front end work, creating really good relationships, and just kind of just cold calling hundreds of different manufacturers and things like that. So I was able to grab a really good deal on these. The packaging is like less than like 5% of the cost. Uh, and then that's what
What's your last name?
Kim, Kim. I'm Korean.
Okay, Korean.
Korean
Okay,
American.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought you were, but I sometimes you say the wrong. I've had Asian ladies get mad when I said, "Oh, you're Korean." No, I'm not Korean. You know, like so. But
Yeah.
I thought so. Okay, yeah. I've got, in fact, one of my Byung-gi Kim is a good friend of mine, David Kim.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Michigan. Yeah,
I,
I I should have said Annyeonghaseyo. My pronunciation is terrible.
I was I can understand. So there's no
Yeah.
it's good enough. I want to ask you a question like what so I don't know much about like Ayurvedic medicine. So
Uh-huh.
what is like the biggest I know that Ayurvedic is like originated from India and more of like Eastern medicine. But outside of that, I don't know much about it, and I'm sure like a lot of the listeners probably don't know much about it. If you had to, I'm sure it's very complex, but if you had to break it down into a very easy to digest a few sentences, what is Ayurvedic medicine, and how does that differ from like your conventional medicine that we do here in on the West?
Well, I'm going to come at it in two different angles. The first one is
Okay.
going to be the overall metaphysical and um, realms that, unless you study this, it may seem foreign to some people. But the
Mhm.
word Ayurveda is Ayur means life and Veda means knowledge of. And Lord Dhanvantari was the Lord, the god of the physicians that came down in his spaceship. It actually emerged from water, and I can't remember what body of water, carrying these remedies. And actually, some of the ancient texts were technically written by him, including formulas.
Mhm.
And what it is, it's a system that's considered omnipresent with Earth to live on Earth healthy and happy. So it's a lifestyle thing. And samprapti is the word for pathology, meaning as disease, progresses. We use 12 different steps. And I would have people come in, and after a certain point, I'm like, no, I can't treat you. We're the first half. And that's, people don't, okay, let me get back to answering your question. I'm going to go off on the subject. So Ayurveda,
Mhm.
knowledge of life, a lot of it is the lifestyle and dinacharya, which is daily lifestyle and habits, and then ritacharya, which is eating for seasons and temperature and climate. So that's very important. And then following the principles of always bringing imbalances back. And that's what I was going to start talking about. We consider chronic gas to be a precursor to something worse, just like any allergy is a precursor to an autoimmune disorder. So, like if you can't live in your own planet without being sick, there's something wrong. You just don't take a freaking pill or an antihistamine. If you can't go outside, there's an imbalance there. And rasa dhatu, so there's the tissues and they're formed from food. And the
Mhm.
first one formed is rasa dhatu, or food stuff, heavy mucus before it turns into um, lymphatic fluid. Everything revolves around tissue production. And so the way you break down your food, it's like putting diesel in a regular engine. It's going to be
Mhm.
mucky. It's not going to break down. So if you're not putting in the right fuel, you got to get the first off, get the spark plug firing real well, your enzymes, and then you got to put in the right fuel that'll work. If you don't do those two things, your tissue production will be hindered, and it starts with lymph. And lymph is the barometer to all sickness and the mind. So you have to clear that. So that's why fasting is so, like, one of the best things you can do starting your program would be a 3-day fast, and then start
Mhm.
taking it. You're going to get, bam, it's going to work. So there's so many components to it. But getting back to your original question, Ayurveda, knowledge of life, and I used to always say that Ayurveda doesn't heal your symptoms or your imbalances or your disease, whatever you want to call it. It heals your life. So you move into a different feeling about yourself and about everything. A lot different. Now, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, to
That's what I
me
was
is the
thinking.
most brilliant. Oh my God. I used to know a couple old
Yeah.
TCM doctors that did acupuncture. They are
Yeah.
amazing. It's a little bit different than that. They're not so in tune with yeah, they still with causation, but lifestyle and habits, they're like doctors, but they're good at remedies. Ayurveda is good at remedies, but um, we're big on let's go back to the causation, correct these things, clear the bowel, clear the lymphatic system, set things back up again, and then start building the tissues correctly. Like I read tongues and pulses. Like I can read your pulse and tell you more than any blood test. I can read
Yeah.
like that and tell you all kinds of stuff. And TCM they do too.
So
Just look.
Ayurveda is more like it revolves around the lifestyle. So if I had to make an analogy, if someone is having sleep troubles, the way if well if Western medicine is treating the symptoms, so they give you a sleeping aid, like a pill, to help you fall
Mhm.
asleep. Whereas Ayurveda is, are you using your phone before your bed? Or
Right.
like it's kind of just seeing what actions are causing the sleep troubles. Would you say like that's the main difference?
Yeah, it's an oversimplification,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'm just trying.
yeah, and then also what time are you going to sleep, and how late did
Mhm.
you eat within an hour of laying down? I
Yeah.
tell my patients 3 hours before you lay down, not asleep. You don't put anything in your, you don't jam anything down your gullet.
Yeah.
You have to go to bed hungry is very, very important. You want to go to bed so hungry you can't wait for breakfast. And then
Yeah.
guess what your enzymes do? They first go out and they start
Yeah.
working on toxicity in your lymph. So they
Mm.
start clearing it. And they're working with your organs the whole time. And then if they're done with their work, they work on fat because they
Mhm.
need it. But now if you took food, they're gonna be, hey guys, we can't work on the organs again. We got to break this down. The guy can't stop eating, and then they go into that. And so then that's why like people that work night shifts all have the same symptoms. Someone come in and say, I'm a third shift worker. I'm like, okay, and I just start naming things. I'm okay, we got to get you this light, you got to do this, you got to take these immunomodulator. We got to trick the body into thinking it's night. It's not going to work 100%, um but you mentioned a good one. In the eyes is a aloshika pitta, which it's a liquid that picks up light, and it actually looks for it. Like you ever wake up in the middle of the night, it's pitch dark, your eyes will scan until it finds a little light somewhere. So it picks up light, and if it's too
Mhm.
bright, it'll say, "Oh, it's day. You don't
Yeah.
need to sleep." Yeah. So very, very good formula, though. I'm telling you, I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. Believe me, I'm not. I'll fully admit that caffeine and nicotine, I finally just gave in and said I'm good. I'm gonna just do it. But it still works for me. Your formula? In fact,
Yeah.
I've been taking 2 scoops a
Mhm.
day, and I can feel it. And in fact, the very first day, within an hour, because I'm in tune with that stuff, I'm like, I can feel it. And as soon as I smell it, I'm like, oh, this is hemp. I knew it right
Yeah.
away. And then I was trying to see what strain, but good thing you don't show. I mean, you don't have to, but you shouldn't give away.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I'm wondering. And then I started thinking, oh, infused ghee would be awesome. Then I started thinking nasal spray, and I started thinking all these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I definitely don't show the different because we use multiple strains per
Oh, there you
recipe. Yeah, and then just creating that formula and testing out the thousands of looking at labs for like thousands and testing out like thousands of combinations just take a long time. Like it's kind of like grandma's secret recipe. Like I'm
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Believe me, I know. You would have been impressed with my apothecary in my clinic. It was just
hmm
herbs everywhere, decoctions. I had big buckets of things like
yeah,
I had black walnut trees around the building, and that's an awesome remedy or remover of candida,
hmm
sugar overgrowth. So I had buckets of those black walnuts just soaking in alcohol, extracting, and then I turn it into medicine. Then I don't know what I was thinking. I made like 2,000 bottles. I'm like, shit, this is going to take me 30 years to sell. I don't know why I made so many, but so yeah, I mean, I wanted to just come on. I wanted to talk to you and just say you got a good thing going, and I want to tell you I like it coming from a holistic doctor, but just throw that out there, because as you guys are advancing and you're going to start, it's only natural. You want to have different offshoots to your marketing, and you want repeat customers. You want to, how much it costs to get a customer, and if you have them, you know what to do. I don't need to.
Yeah.
So having the ability to have advanced formulas or ghee preparation, or even a consultation. See, we could even talk about that. Like, hey, I'm really into this. I want to get better. Well, I'll sign you up with a consultation with Dr. David. Something like that. That's open to. I've got some time, but not a ton. But I have some. Just want to throw that out there because I like what you're doing. I really do. You're the first guy I've ever. I'll normally see stuff and I can literally look at it and predict what it's going to do and what's in it. Now yours is I kept watching your ads on. I'm not really a big social media guy. I think it was Facebook, like Shorts, wasn't it? And I kept seeing it. I'm like, okay, I'll order this shit so these will stop, So anyway, I got it. And I'm like, interesting. And then a buddy of mine just went through a breakup with he's a nut job. He won't change his lifestyle, but he ordered it. And I don't want to say his name, but we've been friends since we were 15. We're both up there now. So anyway, I just thought it was neat. And I like your passion for it, your videos, your explanation, your packaging's cool as hell. And just thought, I'll help this young man any way I can. So
I appreciate it. It's just, it was very scary. I mean, it's and starting a business anytime is always scary, but like when you quit your job and then you live on your savings for months and months and months, your savings runs dry. You got to dip into your life, to your retirement funds. Your retirement funds is starting to run dry. Now your credit cards are starting to max out, and then but then despite all that, you still continue.
That's why I ordered the stuff. I just went through the same thing at my age. That's why I ordered. I'm so freaking stressed out. And I'm like, I'm not going to get back. Oh, anyway, go ahead. So I'm in the same boat, brother. I got you.
Yeah. It's but it's good. I just believe in it. I believe in it, and I believe the stories, and all the lives we've been able to change. Is
let me. So, do you know the real reason why you have a couple of pieces of kimchi before meals?
Before meals, I don't have it before meals, but
when do you have it? After?
No, during? I have it in during. So I'll have my base diet is chicken and rice, and then I eat kimchi as a side dish in between my bites.
Okay, the way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the Korean guy, not me, is that it was an hors d'oeuvre that you ate a piece or two prior to the meal. Is that true or not?
I mean, side dishes get served first, so maybe that could have been something like back.
Because here's the energetic there. The energetic with kimchi is it stokes digestive fire, and there's a fermentation in there that will help digestion. So eating it with it is good, but also a little couple pieces before and during and after will keep that moving. Just why do you think they give you ginger when you're eating raw fish when you have sushi? It's for the digestion. A lot of people don't know that's why. That's why. Because it's raw fish. You got to help digest it. So little pieces of ginger, kimchi, a ferment, things like that would help your absorption. So if you start getting a good percentage of people saying, it doesn't work, this is bullshit, give me my money back and everything, I guarantee if you get into it, what they're eating and what they're doing is the problem, not the herbs.
So the cool thing is we actually have I think it's only 8. We did a survey, and it was with 2,900 customers, and only 8% said that they weren't unable to feel anything. So it's pretty low. But then that gave me a funny idea. So if someone goes James, I'm not able to feel anything, I'll go hold up, I'm gonna send you some kimchi. Make sure you eat a few bites of this.
I'm telling you. Is your grandma still around?
She is around. Yeah, she is.
Is she in the States?
Yeah, she is. She's in Los Angeles.
I'll bet you any money you could, if you got with her and had her figure out a way to ferment your herbs into kimchi, just throwing it out there. It tastes like crap, but see, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Just that's when look at the delivery vehicle, man. Look
Mhm.
at getting it delivered, because I'm telling you, it's difficult with that dosage to get
Mhm.
it. It's with the delivery vehicle, you may they may go to, wow, it used to work, now it really works. So I'm just, because I take
Yeah.
it with ginger tea, and I told you I felt it the very first dose within a half hour, 45 minutes,
Mhm.
because I
Well,
strong ginger tea.
so I'm always looking to improve the product. I believe a company should always be improving the product. But a quick question about the tea
Should
part.
be what?
A company should always be improving their product. Like the
Yeah, yeah,
moment
yeah.
you stop improving your product, the company is going to go downhill.
You Gen
But
Zs, you Gen Z speak fast. My
uh,
fiance is your age, and I can't understand what the hell she's saying half the time.
I'm
She's like,
actually a millennial. I
"Oh, are
just
you?
got
You
super
look young."
excited. It's the Asian genes, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like
um
my dry cleaner. Every time I go in, I say, "I
yeah,
say, oh, new name." I call her new name, and she giggles.
yeah.
I don't know very many words, but like an honorable big sister, I guess, is
Yeah,
what new name means.
yeah. So if I find out like is your tea hot or is it cold? Your ginger tea
Hot. When
hot.
you whenever you ingest something, you put
Yeah.
something in your mouth. Your body has two goals:
Hmm.
liquefy it and heat it. That's why soup is so healing. So when you have hot, strong ginger tea, it's already liquefied and it's heated. So now it can do a better absorption.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Liquefy and heat. That's why soup, like you get sick eating a ferment. I'm sure grandma made you some strong soup that would clear you right
Mhm.
out, you know, or maybe your mother does too, or
Yeah.
your wife if you got a good one.
One thing I did notice is that because customers always ask if they can mix it with tea, and then I, I always in the beginning I go like just use the tongue method because I just know this is a surefire way for things to kick in, and then after things kick in, you can test it out. But please come back to me with feedback on how things went with the tea. And I've learned that when people do mix it with tea, the reports I'm getting is that it feels a lot weaker and a little bit milder. So, which is why I don't usually recommend it in the first round. Do you think that may be because of the specific type of tea they used, or was the temperature too hot, or what do you think might be the reason there?
What I think it is, they put it in a full cup and sipped it. What you want to do
Mhm.
is you want to put it in a shot.
A
So you
shot
put the
of tea.
herbs in there, strong ginger tea. You want it real strong, and then a dab
Mhm.
of ghee. Swirl it around, and then shoot that. So you're
Yeah,
same thing, but now you're just, rather than chasing it with the water, you could even do it your way.
yeah.
Put it in and then chase it with that.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
what they're probably doing is putting it in a big old thing and sipping it. Oh, I can't stand putting stevia in there and everything and complaining, and it takes them
okay.
20 minutes to drink it. Then it's not the same type of delivery. Probably that's what they're doing, because that's what they do. Believe me, I know. They'll take the
Okay.
easy way out.
Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that sounds like one of those wellness shots that just taste absolutely horrid. Like one of those when you make it when you put in a bunch of things, but it's super healthy for you. So, but okay,
Yeah,
um,
so you can do it either way. Yeah, I mean, you could mix it in there or use that as your chaser, because you
mhm,
said chase it with water, and it's good advice. I don't think you said warm though. I think you just said water, but definitely warm. And then the good thing about ghee is it melts at our body temperature,
mhm.
so it dissipates and it grabs a hold of the herb. So the ghee and the ginger is really, really good advice.
Okay,
They had a little shot of that. See, what I do is I'm throwing out my technique, being a holistic doctor, because you don't want to keep getting your saliva on that little scoop. So I just hit
yeah,
my bottom lip. I go and knock it right into my mouth. It goes right onto my tongue. I take it and then it shoots in. You can take that, swish it around, take that down. Now you're getting, I would say, 1 + 1 = 4 if you do
there you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now putting it in there, stirring it. Oh, I need some more sweet. Oh my God. Can you taste this, honey? I can just see him doing that. It's just that little tiny thing. It's not
Yeah.
even, you can sniff it. I'm not, I'll try it. I'll try it. I'm going to
Please
shoot.
don't.
I'll bet you
Please.
that worked, getting the mucosa. because one of the things we use in Ayurveda is nasya. Nasya means
Uh-huh.
nasal. So you take oil and you put it up because you can get past the blood brain barrier in the mucosa up here. So you can
I can
actually
understand
drive.
oil, but not herbs into your nose. That
Well,
sounds.
but
That's
it's infused oil. There's all kinds
true.
of herbs in the oil. So
Hmm.
you could actually, I'm telling you, you could spin off so many things. Now,
Yeah.
nasya with your formula, oh my God, it gets past the blood brain barrier. So you can literally
Yeah.
put medicine to your brain through your mucosal layer in your nose.
Got it. What
Hey,
What do you
now you
think?
said don't do it. I'm going to do it for sure.
And just for the record, I didn't recommend it, but I would love to hear how it went.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, not a full scoop,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Just
anyway,
test it out.
there's a lot of spin-off
Hmm.
with a good formula. You've got the ghee, you've got nasya, you can infuse it into oil.
Hmm.
Another thing we do in Ayurveda, when people are really stressed and they have what's a vata disturbance or mental disturbance,
Hmm.
is you cover your body with medicated sesame oil before every shower. Everyone thinks you put it on after. You put it on before. People think that water is lubricating. It's not. It's drying. It's ruksha. The word ruksha in Sanskrit means drying. Go into a pool for an hour, come out. Are you puckered? Yeah, because you're drying out. It's pulling.
Hmm.
So a lot of times oil is really big for calming the mind. Even just rubbing it on the temples, you could make an infused oil, do this and
Hmm.
that, and there's so many different spin-offs you have with your formula.
Yeah. I I wanted to ask you earlier, what do you think is keeping people from making changes? Because like I know everyone wants to change, but just doing the actions is difficult. And I've been there myself. I was stuck wanting to change for over a decade before I made that first step. For the first decade, I was just complaining, thinking, why isn't life getting better? While I did the exact same things. But
Well,
I know it's tough.
what drove you? Did you have to come off of something? What got you to go into like withdrawal and calming the mind? How'd you get a
Um,
passion for that?
I don't talk about it much, but I just had a uh really messed up childhood, and then it started really young, and there's a lot of family issues and things like that. But
Repetitive? Like you couldn't let it go?
no, it was
Just triggers?
no, it was just like a broken family essentially, and then just
Right.
like it
Well,
was.
let me. So I'm going into doctor mode with you right now.
Yeah.
Was it triggering things, or was it all the time, or what? Because I'm just curious.
Oh,
Yeah.
it made me. It's so the worst things about me is that I always thought I wasn't good enough, and then I thought that everyone hated. I think I wasn't good enough, and that everyone in the world hated me as a kid. So, when you have that repetitive thought that everyone in the world hates you, and you're doing your best to kind of put on this shell to please everyone because everyone hates who you are, things like that. And I did that for for many many years. But at one point, I was like, "What's the point of living if everyone hated me?" Because then I thought that my parents hated me too, so I was just like completely alone in this world. And then that's when I got suicidal. And then but after the yeah, and then, but it was after the attempts when I kind of like shook out of it, and then and that's when I took the first few steps of trying to change, and it didn't happen overnight, and I took like many years for those fruits to blossom. But but during that healing time is when I tried meds. It's after
Right.
the suicide. I was like, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna try meds, and then I found out I have an addictive personality, so I got completely hooked on benzos. Because for the first time in my whole life, I felt good, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's possible to feel good. And then
Right.
after the first day, you go, like, I'm gonna feel good again, and the next day when things come back, I'm gonna feel good again. I'm gonna take it, and then when you're taking it every single day and maybe it's just my body, my tolerance went up fast, so I went from taking one a day, 1 milligram a day, to 2 milligrams a day, to 4 milligrams a day, to 8 milligrams a day. And
Right.
it just went crazy, and at one point I was just completely living as a shell of myself. And it wasn't just the benzo I got addicted to. Like I got addicted to like alcohol as well. And then I was addicted to anything to get me out of reality,
Painkillers?
essentially.
Did you get the Vicodin going?
Painkillers, not really. I didn't really get addicted to painkillers, but I
You're
got
singing a tune that me and a lot of
yeah,
people, a lot of us have been through that. You know, the American Indians say this, that the first 40 years of your life, and the medicine man, it doesn't become a medicine man until he's past 40. And it's
mhm,
usually the guy that went through all these problems, fell flat on his face, and got back up because now he knows the vibrations of those issues and he can help people. If you haven't been through it, you don't get it. So tell yourself that that was universal intelligence, God,
yeah,
whatever, setting you up for it. But you answered your own question, and that's why I was asking you. There was change in your daily lifestyle that allowed you to get better. So
yeah,
you say, why don't they? Because they won't change their lifestyle. They will clutch to a painful, um, repetitive comfort or a familiar pain. They'll clutch to a familiar pain
mhm,
versus an unfamiliar happiness. So you
mm,
got to let them know that it's better on the other side. And the way you do it is you got to. It's super difficult, man. I'm telling you, it's
yeah,
really. They got to want it more than you. Like
yeah,
people say, like I don't even have health insurance. People, what are you
mhm,
crazy? I'm like, no, I'm not going to those idiots. What? I don't care what they say. One night I'll just die in my sleep. Then I'm done. I'm not going to be the guy with the hose up my nose in the hospital the last 5 years or anything. No, I'm just going to
mhm,
go in my sleep. You know, and a lot of people don't have those. They don't have that fortitude. So just like you said, that this led you to believe that you weren't worthy and people didn't like you. So somehow you got to, and everyone's different. You got to figure out where you can get them to love themselves. They have to love themselves,
mhm,
and then they'll start treating themselves better. But
yeah,
it's easier. It's a lot easier said than done. Because
exactly,
yeah. So I don't have the answer for you
yeah,
100%, but I do know because I am an addicted person. Just like I said, I finally just gave in on. That's why I've been leaning over here because I'm hitting my vape. So it's not
yeah,
actually, yeah, because I just said, okay, screw it. I've been trying to quit on and off nicotine and caffeine forever. And I finally said, okay, I'm gonna
mhm,
accept those two and not be mad about it. When
yeah,
and Osho used to teach that. He would say that saying you're never going to do this is just as bad as being addicted to it because you're always thinking about it. You know, like I'm not going to use nicotine. Well, you're always thinking about it. So
yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's like people think you beat addiction, but addiction's not something you beat. It's something you man. It's just like anxiety, I believe. It's like you don't beat anxiety. You just learn how to manage it for the rest of your life, and you just get better at managing it. And I
You
think
know,
it's
love
very
him or hate
similar.
him. Love him or hate him. Andrew Tate's got some of the best lines about that.
Mm,
He said, if you don't have anxiety, you have nothing to live for. That's when you become drug addicted, and that's when these spoiled, rotten kids of Hollywood stars go off the deep end because they don't have any stress, they don't have anything to
mm,
fight through. He said,
mm.
and I equate that to, when you die, if you're flat broke, but you lived okay the whole time, so what? You're dead. Doesn't matter if you got 3 million in the bank, you're dead. So,
Yeah.
I'm not. I guess that's really. It may not make 100% sense what I'm saying, but it's the fight. It's the fight that matters.
Hmm.
But if they don't have it, then you can't really help them. They got to want it. Just like you've seen psychic healings, where
I
you ever see those where they'll have a camera on a tumor inside someone, and then
no.
the monks will chant over them, and the person fully believes that the monks can reduce that. And you'll see right on camera, you'll see as they chant, the tumor goes smaller and smaller and smaller and
It,
smaller and goes away. Because we do live in a matrix.
uh,
It can manipulate it, and that's through dinacharya. Another thing you mentioned earlier, exercise. So if they don't want to do that, you can do ancient pranayama breathing. So the breath, the prana that comes in through the breath and sun is
mhm.
as important or more than the actual movement, the asana, like the movement, like the yoga asana. So asana movement, they can sit and do like alternate nostril shodhananda, do that for 5 minutes and bring in all this prana. And if they won't, I just can't commit to working out. Okay, we'll do 20 of these breaths, 20, and for 2 weeks, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. They come in, oh my God, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So little things like that.
I have two questions about Ayurveda.
Yeah.
So it seems like it seems very like there's a cookie cutter formula, like 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. You said like when the sun, like that's when the sun's up and it helps with your digestion. But but is it, it does like the way you treat a patient change just because like each individual person is different? Because I know there's some people are just wired to be more alert at night. Some people, most people are not. But I feel like so many people are just different, and it's hard to apply. It's
That
not.
that no. There's three doshas, vata, pitta,
Yeah.
kapha. There's two vata times and two pitta times and two kapha times through
Mhm.
24-hour period. Vata is ether and air, and that's 10 to 2, that's 2 to 6.
Mhm.
Okay, and you'll notice 2 to 6 in the morning and 2 to 6 in the afternoon. You'll notice that things get a little bit drier, a little bit more windy, things are a little bit different. Then you get the dew in the morning. That's kapha time. Kapha is earth and water. Pitta is fire and water. Okay, so those three are universal. They're part of the universal
Mhm.
vibration intelligence. So why people say they have more energy in the evening, it's because if they stay up till 2, they're in vata time, which is movement, propulsion, and 10 to 2. So if they stay up till 10, they get that fire. Okay, so like me being more pitta, if I'm not asleep before 10, I'll get more of a heat, and I can get like a second wind. But the people that are vata deranged will always say, I get my second wind after 2 a.m. and I get the most done. And then they're just wrecked the next day. And then they do that and it just repeats. Or they'll say, I don't eat meals, I graze all day. The BS. Your system doesn't work like that. So there are universal truths. And
Mm.
that's kind of a millennial thing that everyone's different. They're really not. There's
Okay. Okay.
there's three doshas and there's three time and it's natural. There's nothing we can do to it. And
Got
it'd
it.
be like, what's the opposite of nocturnal? Daytime animals.
Yeah.
Like a daytime animal said,
Yeah.
screw it, I'm going to start staying up all night. Well, he'd get eaten pretty soon, or something would happen. You know,
Mhm.
the Maharishi or Maharshi. You've heard of the Maharishi. It's mispronounced Maharshi. Great sage. He was asked, what is the most beneficial thing that you can do for health? And he said, go for a walk with the rising sun shining on your face every morning. And that starts everything. So now you fall throughout the day and you go to bed, you get in tune with nature and the
Mhm.
movement or circadian rhythms. And we find it to be much more important, where Western medicine acknowledges circadian rhythms, but they don't understand the importance or the cellular level. See, they treat at the chemical and physical level. Ayurveda goes below chemical to not only vibrational, but manifestation and mass consciousness. So it's
Mhm.
no coincidence that all the news stations were saying the same exact things. You could overlay all the news stations about the fake pandemic, and people were believing it. Now, if they would have said it rather than it being shortness of breath and pulmonary and all that, they said if it was diarrhea and migraines, I guarantee all those people would have got diarrhea and migraines.
Oh,
What they told them they're going to get, they're going to get.
got
So,
it.
being a little kid in your bed and you think there's a monster underneath it, you can make yourself sick.
Yeah, I definitely do believe that the mind has a lot of control in how we, because your mind and your physical body is interconnected. Um,
Right. Have you
do you,
studied Buddhism? Are your parents Buddhist or
we're Christian. We're
okay?
Christian. Yeah.
Well, I can't pan the. You should see all the stuff I have here.
Yeah.
I even have one of the most extensive alien artifact collections, um, museum quality artifacts that were produced by aliens, but it's
Hmm.
not acknowledged mainstream. But the bottom line is, you can even tie in from a Christian aspect. Um, the same thing, but Buddha was a very good teacher, basically of the Tao. You know,
Yeah.
Tao, the Tao. He was a teacher of the Tao. But if you look
Mm.
at the Tao, if you were to grab the Tao
Oh,
and then, yeah,
one
you
sec.
can.
I think my audio cut off. Give me a second.
I can hear you fine. I can hear you. Can you? You can't hear me?
Technical difficulties happening out of nowhere. But I wanted to ask you, do you think there's a place for conventional medicine? Like, for example, if you like break a bone or like need like last minutes, you got appendicitis and you need surgery and things like that. Do you think there's
Appendicitis, not necessarily, but the first one, yes.
okay? Well, what's
Because
the
appendicitis is like removing the your fire alarm's going off, and you just take it off the ceiling. So the appendix is actually a lymph node saying that the cecum, or God, now I'm being tested. I haven't talked about this stuff in so long. Is it the?
yeah?
It's not the duodenum. I think it's the cecum, ileocecal. Don't I can't remember my anatomy right now, but right there in the lower bowel is toxic. You know, right at that sphincter. There's a sphincter there where it hangs.
Hmm.
Oh God, I haven't thought about anatomy in so long. But anyway, it's a lymph node that's a fire alarm going off saying, look, it's toxic. So what you do is you clear out the toxins and then the inflammation will go down. But
It,
anyway, yes, I agree with you. A MASH unit, okay, is what Western medicine should be. Broken bone, end of life care, emergency medicine. I would, if I got in an accident or something happened, I want no one other than a red blooded American physician taking care of me. But I'm sure the hell not going to go to talk to some guy wearing a white jacket because I got the sniffles, where he's going to pull out a pad of paper and
got
write
it.
it. No, that's
Okay,
all made up. The
got
old
it.
deal, you want to study some real brilliant guys, look at the osteopaths from like 80, 100 years ago. Oh my God. The stuff they did was amazing. But then Big Pharma got a hold of them, said, look, we're going to run you out of business or you got to come on board and prescribe.
Mhm.
They make it seem like, oh, but then they were good enough to be able to be given this privilege. No, they were saying, we're going to run you out of business or join us. Is what it was.
That's one thing I wonder. I'm like, what if my I go like, what if my product becomes so good I get attacked by big pharma and there's always people magically disappearing or they magically committed or they one day committed suicide. I'm like, I'm
Right.
putting it on the record. I'm never gonna commit suicide ever again. Or I'm never going to do that. So if I magically disappear, guys, you guys know who got me.
Oh, I know a holistic doctor that was, and it started with a B, not Brantford brand. Anyway, he supposedly committed suicide while fly fishing and shot himself twice in the chest. That's
Yeah.
how did he get that second one off?
Um,
Anyway,
he's just really good at shooting quickly.
so being a truth seeker that I am, believe me, I go down rabbit holes real easy,
Yeah.
and if you get to know me, you would know that I don't really adhere to anything. I just disseminate information, and that's the
Mhm.
way I like it. I remove the word believe and belief because that just means I really don't know. I'm taking a side, so I don't do that. I'll either say I don't know, or I haven't studied that, or I've studied it and I've concluded this.
Yeah.
And um, the fact is that it's a manipulation. and you follow the money. And so I'll give you an example. Scientology. Oh, it's okay, this. I said, you know what? So I read like 3 of the books, and I went down to the Church of Scientology here in Detroit just because I want to learn. And they tried to get a lot of money out of me, $65 for a 12-week course, $65. Now, granted, they were kind of whack jobs. Don't get me wrong. They think L. Ron Hubbard is some sage. I think he's an author. And guess what the books were? His interpretation of the Tao. That's all it is. Because I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, this is an Ayurvedic principle. This is found in the Vedas. This is Tao. He's just going through the ancient texts, and then he put in some twists and made up, I don't know if he made up the words, but he uses different terminology to remove repetitive thoughts from the being, saying that a repetitive thought or reaction can cause etiology or pathology in a reaction that's vibrational. So how do you remove it? And they do it through a system of asking questions and going deeper. It's not really that big of a deal. And cleansing, lots of cleansing. So it's, now I didn't really like the people, don't get me wrong. It was just too weird the way they act. Like this guy, like Yogananda. I don't know if you ever read that. Something of a yogi. It's a famous book. I used to read it every year. Diary of a Yogi or whatever. But I went to the Yogananda retreat a few times, and they call him Master and everything. And Master spoke to me, and I'm like, he's around? I thought he died like 70 years ago. You know what I mean? I don't play those games. But I'll go down a rabbit hole and I'll dig in every single time it's money related. Like when they bash chiropractic, when they bash osteopathy, when they do all this, it's because it takes away from their profits. I didn't finish my story about Scientology. Finally, I looked at the guy. I said, look, why does it get bashed so bad? He goes, we've got millions of people off of psych meds. So there you go. Get people off psych meds, they're going to come after you. Guns drawn.
I'll tread lightly.
Well, you're not making claims, so you'll be okay.
All we do is, I keep it simple. We're not a miracle cure. We do one simple thing. We help calm the mind. That's it.
No. No, I picked up on your sincere right away. That I don't normally contact people like this. You're the first person ever, and I'm like, no, he's got something good going there. And what you're saying in your videos is correct. If I was critiquing you as a holistic doctor, I would be like, no, you're not saying anything out of line. You're not making claims, and you're upbeat. And you're telling them there's hope. Big thing's hope. Hope that they can get out of that funk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But man, I can get addicted to anything fast. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Did you have a mental health journey of your own? Or
oh God, yes. It's still going on, man.
Never ends.
Yeah. It's always a battle. It's always. And like, I left the practicing and I got back into businessman mode, and I was co-CEO with my best buddy. We had 3 companies. We had a couple dozen, 3 dozen employees. We're cranking out lots of money. We made some big hires. We doubled our sales, pulling decent salaries. And then the Biden administration came in and just completely wrecked everything, infusing $7 trillion into the money supply. Oh, the market's up. Well, yeah, there's $7 trillion that came in. Of course, everything just like in Nemo. All drains lead to the ocean. All money leads to the markets. You put 7 trillion more in there, of course everything's going to go up. So then as that annihilated the recreation space, because both our main 2 brick and mortar companies are in camping and the marine industry, I had to go back and start another division. Tried different divisions. Things had changed since I used to be really big into hard money lending and equipment leasing. That's completely changed. That was back before the internet when I was doing it, very successful. Now it's just cookie cutter and difficult. Back then, if you needed a hard money lender, you look at the phone book and you had to drive across town to the one guy that's in town. So you got all this business. So, and it's really easy. Like I can drink an energy drink and do it 2 days in a row and start drinking it every day. And then I also, all the millions of dollars that I've had go through my fingers that I don't have. I'm like, if you would have done this right, you'd have 40 rental properties and this, and then you beat yourself up, just like what you were doing, I'm sure. You're like, maybe I'm not that smart. Maybe I'm not that good. So you got all that doubt. So it's a constant battle, because especially if you're a business person, you're a perfectionist. And then you're like, why aren't I making more? Why aren't I doing this? So there's different components to that. And someone can be coming off of, say, heroin, and they're going through a struggle. It's to a person that's second guessing themselves. It's the same receptors and the same vibration. So not 100%, but you know what I mean? It can cause issues. It could be something real simple. Like failed marriage, things like that. Well, I blame myself every goddamn day, man. So yeah. And so the reason why I bought your product was I didn't want to go down another substance path. And I'm like, I'll try this. Not that I was planning on going down it, but I'm just like, I kept seeing it. I finally said, if I buy this, will this shit stop? So your ads were always, so it must have tagged me, or I got a pixel, because I was continually, and I'm like, I'll try. It looks interesting. And I said, I'm like, yeah, the young man's trying, man. He's kicking butt. I'm going to see what he's got going on here. Yeah. So I was actually like proud of you. I'm like, you go, boy. Here. Yeah, let me see what it's all about.
I appreciate it.
Like, how the hell do I renew? That's one thing I tell you. Somehow figure out to make it easy for people to renew. You can't figure it out on you got to go through the whole ad again.
It's I have zero experience building a website. I built this website by watching YouTube videos. I have no coding experience. Luckily, like recently this past year, I started using ChatGPT to like help me like with some basic coding. But before, I was just bugging all my software engineer friends and things like that. But yeah, that's why the website sucks.
Where are you located?
We're in Orange County, California, so it's an hour south of LA. But we're not staying here for too long. California, it's very it's business friendly with all the taxes and things like that. So we'll be next year.
How about that crazy new scum? I mean, what the heck's wrong with anyway? Jeez.
There's a lot of things. I feel like on both sides of the political spectrum, there's things I like and I dislike. I don't want to generalize things, but then definitely there's a lot of things happening in California, and there's a lot more cons happening than pros. And right. I know what you mean.
Really, the biggest pro is the weather. It really is. I mean,
I call it the weather tax. It's the weather.
There's a lake up in northern Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan. You may have heard of the pretty famous school called Interlochen. Okay. A lot of hot, big names, political names. They go there, summer school, summer camp, music, something like that. Well, Traverse City Bay, there's an old saying, view of the bay, lose half your pay.
View of the bay, lose half your pay.
Yeah. So like you guys have it the same way. Yeah, you get to live there. But literally, I remember the last time I was out there with my, at the time, my best buddy kind of had a falling out. He made it big in Silicon Valley, and we had a falling out. Anyway, save you the details on it. But he had bought a couple homes. His home was a nice multi-million-dollar home on a hill, and there's a subdivision down there. He bought 2 homes, one for each daughter, so he could see them. Anyway, when I went over to see when they're renovating them, I looked at them. I'm like, okay, this in Michigan would cost this would cost that. It was 10 times as much there. And I was talking to one of the workers, one of the carpenters or whatever, and he told me he has to live like 3 counties over, but drive over here, he gets like double or triple the pay here. Yeah. But by the time he makes his house payment and do everything, it was like he's breaking even, but they get the weather. The same as if you equated it to here, all things being equal, he's he's paying for the weather. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
bigger house. He doesn't have anything. He just gets the weather, which
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, I can understand it. But see, Michigan, people say, what's it like there? I'm like, well, I've always been here. They're like, do you drive through the snow? I'm like, yeah, we've always been driving through the snow. So we don't notice it.
If it snowed here in California, it will be complete chaos. Even if it rains a little bit, everything goes. Driving laws go out the window. It's suggestions. But
I'll never forget the last time I was there, those highways. What are they, 8-10 lanes on each side?
in California,
Yeah.
it's big. Yeah, we drive 80. 80 is usually the.
Yeah, but how many lanes on each side? Let's say it's north-south highway. You'll have 8 on each side, 16 lanes.
Yeah.
Like 8 going north, 8 going south. It's 6 or 8 or 10. They're huge. Like here, the biggest you'll see is like 4.
Yeah.
But
It's only those. I think it's like, I don't know if it's 8. Oh no, maybe there are some parts that are 8, but then it's only like that outside the big city. So when you go into Los Angeles, everything merges into 2, which makes I mean, it's just old infrastructure, I guess. But
yeah, one of my best buddies from Chula Vista, and I went outside a couple times. But
good tacos there. I lived in San Diego for 7 years, so loved it there.
Oh, but the perfect climate for a sweaty guy like me. I mean, it's always like 70.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. But San Diego has its own tax. It's it's very expensive to live in San Diego.
Oh yeah. My house here was built in like 1920s. It's about just shy of 3,000 feet, brick from the ground up.
Yeah.
15 minutes south, it's $1 million house. Out there, it'd probably be 3-4 million. I think it's worth 400.
Mm-hmm.
Like your guys are driving $400,000 cars where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my plan is to, since it's like for bootstrapped company where like everything literally the business is growing on my retirement savings and credit cards at the moment. So like if we're bootstrap company, I'm planning to like, just leave California for a few years where things are a lot cheaper, and hopefully I can be a little bit big enough to come back to California down the line. But who knows? Life always goes crazy. But I feel like we kind of we did a slight digression. I want to kind of wrap this up with like mental health for someone who's like struggling with mental health and they're watching this and they're like, I am one of those people who know I need to make action, but I can't make action. Like, what's a message or maybe an actionable step you can share for them that has worked for your patients?
The first thing is going to bed, okay, and have one set meal a day. Most people don't do that. Like, get to bed. So, what is it? Asleep within 3. Don't quote me on it. I can't remember the exact principles in the Vedas, but it's either an hour and a half or 3 hours from sundown and up an hour and a half or 3 hours before sunrise. You do that and then have one set meal a day, calms the mind. So start there. Just like, well, I've always been a night owl. Well, you know what? You say that you're struggling with something. Let's try this. Now, if they can't do that, the one set meal, like I'm going to eat my largest meal midday at this time and do it every single day. So then you start training your mind. Then you have to make changes and you have to convince yourself that's how you used to be. And I'm telling you, one of the best ways, it's crazy, move all your furniture. So when you walk in the door, you're going, oh yeah, that's right. I'm the new me. Yeah. I'm not the old me anymore. Change everything. You know,
I love that.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to trick your monkey mind because it's going to try to hold on to those addictions and dysfunctions so hard. So you got to change it. And then breath work, you know, then you just keep building dinacharya. Another one that's super simple, get a tongue scraper. First thing when you get out of bed, scrape your tongue with a copper tongue scraper 7 times. Look in the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself like 10 times, then take a few deep breaths. Hold it, up on 8 or 4 or 8, hold for 4 or 8, down on 4 or
Yeah.
8, longer the better. Infuse it with prana. So you scrape the tongue, that activates all the organs, because all our organs touch our tongue. They come up. So you activate the organs, you get the gunk off, and then you look yourself right in the eye and you tell yourself, I love myself. I love you. I love you. Break that self-love, then infuse it with prana, change things. But most people won't even do that.
It has to
Like
be copper. I have like a regular tongue scraper that's it's like it feels like a toothbrush, but it's not.
Yeah.
Does that work, or it has to be copper?
It will. Is it? You're probably the plastic one that's kind of round, looks like an open spoon.
Yeah, it's kind of round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just buy it from like local CVS. Yeah.
So what they look like. This is going to be a terrible drawing.
I think I've seen what you're talking about before. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. And so copper will ignite vibrations in the tongue. So just now you've developed a new habit. And then you got to tell yourself, you got to set yourself up for a series of wins. Like make your bed. If you weren't making your bed every morning, now you make your bed. You say winners make their bed. Winners scrape their tongue. Winners love themselves. I'm a winner. Oh, walk in the house. That's right. I'm a winner now.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because it looks different. Things like that. Go to a thrift shop and buy some clothes. You can find wonderful clothes cheap.
Yeah.
Go buy a whole bunch of new shit and wear it. Look different. Get your haircut different. Do different. I'm new. I'm different. No, that's old me. Don't adhere. And I remember I heard this reference one time. Hug the cactus. Yeah, I love that guy. That guy, I know who he is, but I'm not him anymore. But you still gotta love him. Hug the cactus.
I love it. Stacking the small wins. That's another big thing I tell people. It doesn't matter how small, just like making the bed. You can tell yourself at the end of the day, if everything else in your day goes wrong, you can go like, I got that win. There's never a day when everything goes wrong, because you have control over your actions, and you can have that full glass of water. You can maybe go for that 10-minute walk in the sun, and you can always tell yourself at the end of the day, I did those two things, right? And then I feel like that gets that momentum going. I always like to wrap these up with like 3 quick speed round questions just to throw you some. You ready for it, Dr. David?
Yep. My fiance or girlfriend, I don't know what she is today, but I promised I was going to take her to Detroit, so I see her pacing around once in a while.
Okay. We'll make it quick. In a different timeline, if you did not practice holistic medicine, what do you think you would have been doing as a career?
Businessman, because I've always been self-employed, so I'd be doing something like that.
Okay. What's a daily habit you never skip?
Ginger tea all day, 6 ounces an hour, every hour waking up when you're awake. Right here, I even make my coffee, instant coffee with ginger tea. So ginger tea is constantly flowing through.
And now you've added your scoop of mind hack into your ginger tea.
I actually like the taste. I'm not a good example. I'll put it in my mouth like,
Okay.
So, when you're saying it's so bad, I'm like, this is nothing. I think I was in a conversation for 3 minutes before I even washed it down. But I put it on my tongue too. So I'll put it on my tongue, let it sit. The mucosa layer will absorb it. So you get a different vibration there. So anyway, I'll throw it under my tongue, let it sit, and I'll down it with ginger tea. But sorry to break up your rapid fire.
No, all good. Well, lastly, what's something you've always wanted to do, but you just haven't had a chance to do yet? Something on your bucket list. The craziest thing on your bucket list.
I can't say it.
That's for the internet.
Right. What I will do before I die is have a fractional ownership in a jet. Because when they shut it down and we couldn't travel, and I never put a mask, I never put a sheeple diaper on my face once, I was like, this is terrible. I want to have the option to where nobody can, I couldn't go anywhere because I wasn't going to follow what they say.
Mhm.
And that's a freedom. So I always say that making money isn't to buy things, it's freedom, because you can buy your way out of control. Not so
Yeah.
much the law or anything, but they want to shut things down. You can get on a plane and load it, the tarmac at a private, and they're not going to say a dang thing. Bring your dog, bring your weed, bring everything.
Mhm. Okay.
So anyway, but hey, if you ever think, like, if you're sitting there and you're writing down things, you're like, I'm going to get Dr. David again. I got questions. Feel free,
Yeah,
man. I love talking about it. And if
of
you have
course.
any ideas on expansion and products, more than happy to help you, brother. You're doing a good job and you're doing a good thing for people. And if just promise me, if you make some shorts out of this, send them to me, because my buddy, all people will get a kick out of it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll definitely run them by you. Dr. David, if someone wants to find you, where can they find you?
Oh, see, I'm not even really putting myself out as a holistic doctor right now, because I trade luxury assets. I trade like Rolexes,
Yeah.
bullion, rare coins, rare notes, Disney dollars. I trade things like that. Lots of watches.
Did you have a book?
Yeah, the book's on Amazon. It's How to
Yeah.
Become a Real Holistic Health Practitioner. I think I can't remember the second part of the title. How to Become a Real Holistic. Anyway, because a lot of the holistic health practitioner programs are fake, and so I wrote that on what it really takes.
Love it.
But the best way would be David at Badger X HQ. Badger like the animal, X HQ like headquarters.com. David at badgerxhq.com. I figured, Andrew Tate, he's got Cobra Tate. I'm like, I need a strong animal, and I've got Badger X. So
Yeah.
he's not like my idol or something, but I'll tell you what, that's another thing. Oh, when you were asking me that question, I had something I want to say. People need to hear what they don't want to hear. Don't surround yourself with people. Like, I got a buddy that won't change. He goes to a female psychotherapist. He reads books written by females. He does all this, and they keep telling him how great of a catch he is, but he keeps repeating these horrible relationships because he doesn't want to go to a guy that's like, look, you're weak. You're making excuses. Shut your mouth. All these women, they think emotionally, and it's yin and yang. It's just different. Yin is different than yang. Male energy is yang. Yin is feminine, nurturing.
Yeah.
So he's going to the yin to get comfort, and they just tell him what he wants to hear, and he doesn't get better. A lot of getting better is you got to hear what you don't want to hear.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes it's just, I feel like just talking and just having other people talking doesn't create change. It might make you feel good for the moment, but the actions create change. And sometimes you just need to get that band-aid ripped off to know that, hey, I really need to change what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
so cool. Well, Dr. David, I really appreciate
Hey,
you.
reach out anytime you need me, man. And I'm
Yeah.
interested to see what you'll splice out and how you put it together. You'll probably make it real cool, and share the shorts with me, because my people that I deal with will get, because a lot of people don't know I'm a holistic, or they know, but they've never heard me speak. They'll be
Yeah.
like, really? You actually, because they think I think you can tell by my person. I'm an old rugby player and baseball catcher and everything, and so people don't perceive me as a holistic doctor unless they know me from that realm. But call me anytime you want.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan. I hope you have a
Yep.
good trip to Detroit, and we'll talk soon.